Hello, and welcome to the Hypno Travelers on the Magical Psyche Highway podcast. That's right. Your host and tour guide is Scott Prevet, a healer, hypnotist, and a magician. And your bus driver is Jason Gobelli, also hypnotist, an entrepreneur, and a spiritual guide. Disclaimer, neither Jason, Scott, or any of our guests here today are licensed professional psychologists or psychiatrists. So please don't make any changes to any medication or treatments that you are currently on based on the conversation that you hear here today. Just hop on the bus and enjoy the ride. Trip with us on the Inner Revelation bus. That's right.
Hi, I'm Jason. Welcome back to the Hypno Travelers on the Magical Psyche Highway, and I am excited today because we got a great guest. We don't have Scott today, though. He's at the doctor's office, so you're stuck with me again. So we're driving the bus with no tour guide, so no telling where we're going to go. With that said, let's introduce our guest. Our guest is Charles Buckingham. Charles, how are you?
I am absolutely fantastic and super excited to be here.
Yeah, it's wonderful to have you. We're grateful to have you. So let's get started right off the bat.
Sweet.
What do you do?
So yeah, I am a hypnotist first and foremost, but I've definitely spiraled very much down a metaphysical path, I guess I should say. I got my start doing a lot of smoking cessation and weight loss, a lot of the basic, things that hypnotists do. And then at some point I kind of tripped and fell into a Reiki course, and then I got involved in tarot and astrology and all these other kinds of things. And they, in a lot of ways, they seem like a lot of separate things, but what I've really done is I brought a lot of these things into my practice to help out my clients. And I still work with habits and addictions and things like that, but I'm actually moving forward into a lot of spiritual things. I help facilitate a lot of past life regression. I help people kind of tap into their Akashic records or start communications and things like that with their spirit guides. So and it's really been a lot of fun because we're really in the middle of this kind of like spiritual awakening right now. Everyone's kind of opening up to the great whatever it is, and they kind of want to find more. And hypnosis in particular is a really good way to create that connection and help people line things up. But yeah, and my wife's not here. I'm sure you'll get a chance to talk to her at some point, but you did meet her in Las Vegas. She's also a hypnotist and she reads people's energy and stuff like that. And she's pretty crazy as well. She can absolutely look into your soul. But yeah, so it's just a very holistic approach, right? I'm all about helping people understand themselves and their own strengths and their own weaknesses and things like that, and then helping them figure out how to use their strengths to their best advantage and kind of mitigate whatever weaknesses they have or start to build and grow past them.
Well, it sounds like you started out working with the addictions and stuff and then just heavily jumped into the woo, huh?
Oh yeah. And it's funny too, because like when I first started out, I was all like, man, I'm not gonna do any of that stuff, like all that crazy, fake stuff out there. I'm just gonna do stuff that's like proven by science and this and that and the other thing. But it, that lasted maybe a year or two, and then yeah, straight down the rabbit hole I went.
So what was it like? So when did you have like this aha moment? Like, wow, I can go into the rabbit hole.
So actually it was really interesting. I was in Rich Guzzi's guerrilla hypnosis course, right? And a lot of the techniques that he had I had been familiar with in the past. I was just kind of seeing his way of doing them. But one of the things that he did was he did something where he had someone kind of standing facing the other way, and he just pointed at him, and he was bringing him in and out of trance non-verbally, right? And so that kind of like sparked this thought in my mind about the whole energy and the connections and things like that. Maybe hypnosis is a little bit more than just people following my directions, right? And it just so happened that I had a Reiki class kind of lined up a couple of months after that, because Reiki was something that I was interested in a long time ago. And then, I got a book on it at the library, and I was like, energy, imagine this, imagine energy flowing. And I was like, this is a bunch of, woo-woo stuff, right? So I really wasn't ready for it. But then, later on, I went to this Reiki course, and and we're doing these meditations, and I'm getting attuned and everything, and I'm kind of a kinesthetic person anyway, right? I like to do stuff with my hands. If I do it with myself, I can learn it. I always say if my wife drives me somewhere, I'll never be able to find that place again. But if I drive there, then I've got it locked in, right? So so yeah, I started like feeling all of these energies and all of this stuff going on, and that really got me interested. And then from there, my Reiki instructor also did some tarot stuff. So I was like, okay, I'll take a look at tarot, and then eventually I started learning about astrology so I could better understand tarot. But then astrology is really where I found my real comfort zone. Like everything just fit in perfectly. I can look at somebody's chart, and for me it's like reading Excel spreadsheet. It's that easy. So I can get that stuff, and it's really helpful when I'm working with clients because they come in and they have a certain problem that they're working with. I can look in their chart and see what kind of needs they're trying to fulfill. Because a lot of times hypnosis is about helping people fulfill their needs anyway, right? But just in a better way. So with astrology, you can really kind of tap into exactly what that need is and how it manifests in their life, and that's a really powerful tool for when we go into hypnosis. Next thing you know, I know exactly what it is they're looking for, because a lot of times clients come in and they have an idea, they know what they don't want, but they don't really know exactly what it is they want, right? So I like that tool. So astrology kind of helps me understand the hand that they're dealt, right? And then hypnosis kind of helps me help them play that hand a little bit better.
Well, it sounds like you're playing it on both sides here. It sounds like you're doing things that are analytical, whereas in you're looking at their charts and stuff like this and figuring out it this way. But then you're
Yeah.
also doing things sensing, where you're sensing things. So where's the mesh here?
Where's the mesh? I mean, the mesh is like, I mean, really, when you get into these things, they kind of creep into your lifestyle, right? So, and I've always been kind of a people person. Like even when I was in the military, I had a lot of jobs where I was working with people, and I had to understand things like rapport and stuff like that. So so really, when it comes to one-on-one interactions, I kind of thrive anyway, and I've always had a sense of like what people are looking for, what they want, and things like that. I think some of these other things just helped me really hone in on it and fine tune it a little bit, right? Because when you look at like the sales techniques and all the things that you learn in like these business courses and stuff like that, they're teaching you NLP and stuff like that. Active listening is just a way of tuning into what's going on with a person. And I think when we step up, right, you're stepping up past the logical into the spiritual. It's just another sense that you can get in there. Like, well, you know how it is when like say you go to a party or you go to a meeting or something, and there'll be like a vibe of the area, right? Like either it's a happy vibe, everyone's having a good time, or maybe everyone's all grumpy and they don't feel like being there. And before you even talk to anyone, you walk in the room, you can kind of start to sense that feeling, right? So that's really what we're learning to tap into. And again, like I said, in the very beginning, I was like, that's all a bunch of hooey. And then, well, they got me. They got me.
So now, are you starting to read auras and stuff like this too? I mean, do you?
So I don't do quite as much of the intuitive stuff. Like I'm a very logical person. I think I start with the logic and then I'm able to tap into my intuition a little bit better. Like especially when I'm doing, an astrology consult with somebody and I'm looking over their chart, or maybe I'm looking at their chart and somebody else's. At first it's just kind of reading data, but then all of a sudden you kind of get into that flow, and everything starts coming out, and it's not all things that I'm actively thinking, right? It's almost like stuff just starts coming and I'm just relaying that information.
Well, it sounds like you got a connection. So when did you first discover that you had this connection, and what was that like?
Ugh. I don't know. I mean, I've been doing astrology for, I mean, at least 5 years now. I don't remember the exact date that I started studying it, but as soon as I started studying it, I started asking for people's astrological information. And it wasn't really something that I would like talk about or anything like that. I just asked for their information. I have a quick, consent thing. Hey, is it okay if I look at your astrology stuff to help with our session? And if they say yes, I'll pull up their chart beforehand. And it just, in the beginning, even when I didn't really understand all the topics, I at least understood basic planets and things like that. So I'd start to see these things, and in reality, like bringing it into my practice really expedited my ability to grow astrologically, because even though I wasn't necessarily doing astrology consultations all the time, I was always like looking over my clients' charts and figuring these things out. And um and it and it's been really helpful. It's really made it so when I come into a session, I have quite a bit of ammunition to really set things right and get people on the right track.
Nice. Well, it seems like you got stuff going on from all over, Charles. You got stuff here, you got stuff here, you got stuff over here you're picking up. Who are your mentors? Who are you getting
Oh,
up?
geez. So yeah, when it comes to hypnosis, definitely Rich Guzzi. Like he's someone that I've been working with for a long time. Richard Nongard was someone that I started with. Ken Guzzo was my smoking mentor, and that was what I did. The first couple of years it was pretty much all smoking cessation until I started to branch a little more. Um, as far as like tarot and astrology goes, Dusty White is probably the biggest mentor that I've worked with. I went to his astrology course. I've got a couple of his tarot books, and they're really intuitive. A lot of for those of you that do tarot, a lot of the times when you get a book, they'll say, "Hey, here's some spreads that you can do. Here's all the cards, and here's what they all mean." Whereas one of the things that I liked about Dusty's books was it starts out with these exercises where you just like pull out your cards and you kind of create little stories about what's happening, and you look at the pictures and you do things like, hey, which card looks stronger and stuff like that. And so what happens is you're learning about the cards instead of just like memorizing kind of a script. And then but yeah, and then after I started with his books, and then I went to his astrology course, and he really broke everything down. Again, when you buy an astrology book, they kind of breeze over elements and stuff like that, and they go straight into this is Aries, and this is what Aries does, and this is Capricorn, and this is Cancer. Whereas, we spent a whole day just talking about masculine and feminine energies, and then we're looking at things that are masculine, things that are feminine, and then we go into cardinal fixed mutable, and we spend a whole bunch of time, just understanding things that are the beginning, the middle, and the end. And then when you really learn these concepts, they create a really good a really good base, and then all that other stuff becomes really easy, and again, it's not going back to like, oh, Aries, they're just a bunch of jerks, they don't care about anybody. Like, you understand, oh, this is getting something started, this is a fiery energy, right? This is passionate, this is movement. And so you can really understand how things are um are breaking down.
Nice. Nice. So
Yeah.
you're married, and you're married to a hypnotist as well.
Yes.
So here's a big
And it's, oh, go ahead.
no. Are you under her
Oh yeah.
trance, or is she under yours?
Uh, Probably. People ask me that all the time. So I was studying hypnosis first, but again, it was at that point it was just something that I'd like looked at some books on. I thought it was this thing that was kind of neat. When we met, we were both in the army, so like way miles away from what we do now. And then I was an intel guy, and she was supply, and we were both in the same company. Um, and then and then I asked her, I was like, "Hey, I was reading this book. Do you mind if I hypnotize you?" Right? And it was just a quick thing. Like, I did a quick trance and a deepener, and we did some stiff arms so she could kind of feel it. And then I brought her back out of it. But she was like, "Wow, this is really cool." And we didn't do a whole lot with it at that point until we came out here to Colorado. There was a practice group that we found in Denver, and then we started practicing hypnosis, and we were out doing street hypnosis. Just more kind of the fun side of things, sticking people's feet to the ground, making them forget their name for a moment or so, things like that. And then eventually the gentleman that was running it, his name's Robert Riddlemoser. He's actually, I think he's still up in Boulder, Colorado now. He was like, "Hey, you guys should check out HypnoThoughts. HypnoThoughts. It's an awesome convention. You'll learn a lot." And then that's what really settled it for us. We went down there, and all these hypnotists are doing all these crazy things. There was an allergy guy there that was like making people's allergies go away, and obviously you had the smoking and the stage guys and all the other stuff. So, we got into it real quick. I was in the process of retiring from the Army, so I started getting some certifications. I did my first certification in Afghanistan. I was doing Richard Nongard's online course. And then when I came back at the following Hypno Thoughts, I went to Kinguzo's smoking course. So those were really my base that I had in the beginning. And then she was in real estate at the time, and she was using hypnosis kind of in her own way to deal with her own blocks and stuff like that. And eventually she decided to just come be a hypnotist. And I was like, yeah, come on in. So,
Nice.
yeah, and we've been doing it ever since. And it works out well because, people have a choice between working with a male or a female. So that's kind of cool. She also speaks Spanish. So obviously she sees all of our Spanish speaking clients as well. And there's not a ton of Spanish speaking hypnotists, at least in Colorado. I don't know about other states, but I think the only other one that speaks Spanish and does hypnosis is like way up in Boulder. So that's, a couple hours from here.
Nice. Well, first of all, thanks for your service. We
Oh
appreciate
yeah,
it.
appreciate it. Yeah, I know. I had a great time. It
Nice.
was it was a lot of fun.
Nice. So it seems like you got a pass. So let me ask you a question. So, what's the thing that you're most proud of? What's the thing that you're feel your biggest success in?
Ooh, what am I most proud of? I don't know. I'm really proud of building this business, and I'm really proud of the way that we've been able to connect with people. We have an amazing network here. I don't know if you know, but Colorado's always been kind of a healing place. Like even 100 years ago, people with like consumption would come up here because the air was supposed to be better for their lungs. And then we've got like healing crystal geysers and stuff like that all over the place, right? So it's always kind of been known as a healing place. Now we have like a very robust community that we've gotten into, and so I'm very happy that we've been able to connect. And I mean, I don't know if you noticed, but I'm a little ADD with modalities. Maybe a little bit of a hoarder, right? But we work with so many great people. We've been able to facilitate like psychic retreats. We've been able to we have a homeopath that we're working with now, and homeopath is kind of its own thing where it's it's if you were to take like Reiki and herbalism and put them together, right? That's homeopathy. So we're getting ready to do some sessions where we work with people for like abundance and things like that. And she's actually going to take the energy from that session and be able to bottle it up and send it home with people. So I'm really happy that we've taken this thing that's hypnosis and really helped spread it into these other modalities as well. It really dovetails really well, and at the same time we're really trying to like kind of demystify it and normalize it, because when I first got here there was no hypnotists. There were no hypnotists in town, and we'd show up at like Fourth of July events and stuff like that, and we'd have religious people telling us that we were doing bad stuff and things like that, and I'm like, no, we're just trying to help people, man. But over the years, I think we've really been able to show the community what hypnosis is all about. It's not the same anymore. There's got to be at least 20 or 30 of them in town now. But it's not something that people are scared of anymore. Because we did have a little bit of holistic stuff going on, but at the same time, there's also like a very conservative kind of like rancher, old school kind of mindset here as well that we had to break into.
Okay, so let's switch gears a little bit.
Sure.
Let's talk about these 7 secrets of yours that you got.
7 secrets to spiritual satisfaction, right? So, aside from just studying a lot of these different practices like meditation, energy work, breathing, stuff like that, I do these things all the time. I'm a huge fan of like Wim Hof breathing. I do yogic breathing. I meditate quite a bit, and I play with my dreams and stuff like that. So this book is a bit of an introduction. Going back to this spiritual awakening everybody's in. People are kind of lost, right? Because you kind of in America have a choice when it comes to spirituality, right? It kind of fits into a monotheistic thing. and everybody that doesn't fit that has to go the other way. Like I don't believe in anything. And that's kind of a rough way to live. Like it's a very empty way to live, right? So what I've put together is these different practices that people can get into where they can start to connect with source a little bit in their own way without, all the rules and regulations and things like that. I have some stuff on I talk about a basic breathing technique just to get people breathing correctly. And then that builds into meditation where you're using your breathing to get into meditative states. And then from there, you start to, do some basic energy thing and basic energy work and start to play with your own energy. It's really just a primer, right? And I say it in the book, I'm like, hey, look, all these things in here may not resonate with you, but the things that do resonate with you, start to play with them and start to get more into them because, they're really gonna build on your life, right? Whether you get into something that's like Reiki or Qigong or mesmerism, where you're doing energy healing, or if you do some sort of divination where you're kind of like, I mean, in a lot of ways, when you're doing divination, you're talking to source, right? Whatever source, God, the universe, whatever you want to call it, you're kind of asking, hey, what's going on with this situation? You're seeking out uh, divine guidance, right? So, and it's just another way to get in there. And if you do it with good intentions in mind and everything, uh, the universe will absolutely speak back to you.
Nice. So let's ask this question now. So let's put yourself in a thing. Where do you plan to go, or what are your plans for, let's say, 10 years down the road?
10 years down the road, oof, 10 years down the road, I'd really like to be helping people kind of expand in this spiritual place. Now, I love to use hypnosis kind of as a base because well, kind of going back to the hypnosis and meditation thing, meditation's a practice, right? You practice it long enough, you'll start to get good enough at it and you can do it. Whereas hypnosis, people that come into my office, they never meditated before, they never did anything like that, but they need to use that state of mind to do something, right? So I want to kind of use hypnosis to help people learn how to meditate and learn to open their psychic abilities and learn how to use energy and stuff like that. I think that hypnosis is just a phenomenal tool for expediting all of that stuff. Um, and then yeah, I'm really loving doing the retreats. We did a retreat in Hawaii this last winter. The year before that we were in Costa Rica and we were bringing all these people in that wanted to build their psychic ability. We were taking them down into trance and helping them kind of clean off their pineal gland and release any like blocks, limiting beliefs, and then helping them tune into those energies. And it's a fun thing to watch. So I'd like to expand upon that. And I'd like to do more retreats where we bring people in, we get them experimenting and learning about these things, but then going off and using them in the ways that are most beneficial for them.
Nice. Any kids on the plans?
No,
Okay.
no
Just check.
kids.
Okay.
Yeah, no, we work too much. I got plenty of nieces and nephews to hang out with.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's step into another direction here. How
Hmm.
how do reviewers get a hold of you? I mean, what if they want your
Oh,
book? What if they want to get your book? How do they get a hold of you? Talk to us.
yeah. So all of the books that I've created, these are all books that I've created for my clients. Seven Secrets is definitely one of the more spiritual ones, but I have some that are more based on cravings and just general manifesting with self-hypnosis. I did send you the links, but there's you can
We'll we'll
excuse me,
we'll,
you can get
we'll,
all of them on
we'll
coloradospringshypnosis.com.
and we'll
Yeah.
post them on the subscription, and then I'll
Oh,
also
perfect.
also post on the screen here, Colorado Springs Hypnosis.
Awesome.
Yes.
But yeah, so coloradospringshypnosis.com is our website. It has all the information about our services and all the events that we have coming up. We also have a Facebook page that is pretty active, and we post all of our events and things like that on there as well. And then we have a YouTube station. So we have a lot of free resources on there. We have some hypnotic um, sessions that are in there for just kind of things that we felt that people might want to do, but they may not want to come into the office and pay for a full session for. So I have one that I did. I'm really into like fountain pens and stuff like that. So I did one to like help you improve your handwriting. There's another one to like help you just improve your posture a little bit, stand up a little straighter. I have a lot of tapping videos on there and this one I do send a lot of my clients to because, dealing with addictions and cravings and stuff like that. We have a whole tapping playlist that has like nicotine cravings, sugary drinks, sugary foods, stuff like that. So you can go on there and basically tap right along with me. Each of the videos are about 2 minutes, and you can start to wipe those cravings out.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
So I noticed you said you do a lot of stuff where you're dealing with psychic abilities and increasing psychic abilities. What are you astro projecting and stuff like this?
So it really is a mix. So and keep in mind, I'm not, astrology is definitely probably where I do the best, and then I'm able to get more intuitive stuff in there. But these psychic classes that we've done have been amazing. You go out there and generally we'll do the hypnosis side, and there's a couple of local psychics that we know that we teamed up with to put these classes together. And so they basically teach the classes, and you're kind of tuning in, and just in the beginning you're learning to just receive whatever, right? So like for instance, the one that I did in Costa Rica, we were doing an exercise where we're tuning into each other's stuff, and I just had my eyes closed, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, I don't think anything's gonna come up. Like, this is really not what I'm good at. And then next thing I know, I see like a little island thing with like a little palm tree kind of shape coming up, and I'm like, hey dude, I have no idea what this is, but I see like a little, palm tree islandy thing. I'm thinking I'm just in Costa Rica, right? Like, there's palm trees everywhere. And I had accidentally or I guess kind of intentionally described the tattoo that he was getting ready to get for this trip. So yeah, it was, and that was a really cool thing for me because like I said, the intuitive piece is something that I work on, but it's something that comes a little bit harder for me because I got to get my logical mind out of the way. But we've worked with some really awesome psychics that are good at either tuning into people's personal energy, or some of them tune into relatives and whatnot that have passed away. Like the whole psychic thing is its own spider web, because there's so many ways people can go. Like we even did one that was really cool where we were connecting to like pets that had passed away. And so she brought in some pictures of some pets from some clients that she'd had, and we all just kind of like tapped in and wrote some stuff down, and like, some people were able to guess their names or what disease they had caught that they died of, or how the pets interacted with each other and stuff like that. And again, that's just its own little niche, where some people like to work with pets, and it gives people closure, and it gives people peace of mind, stuff like that as well. But it was kind of cool to do it with some animals that the story was already known, because then we could go and again, like most of us weren't psychics. Most of us there were just people that were kind of learning about it, and I was doing the hypnosis piece. But to be able to pull this stuff in, and it's weird the way it comes in, like for me, I don't see visions or anything like that. I get what they call I can't even remember what it's called right now, but it's like a knowing, right? And so like instantly I'll just feel like I already know what the answer is, or I know what this information is, and then and yeah, and it's been pretty on point, which is not bad.
So you're dealing with these people, and you got clients, and you're opening up yourself to their energies.
hmm
Aren't you aware that sometimes you might pick up some negative energy or something like that? So let's talk about that for a second.
So yeah, going back to the energy work piece, right? This is really where energy work can help with a hypnotic practice, or any sort of counseling. One of the things I do first off, I always sage my office before all of my sessions and everything. I'm clearing out negative energies, and on a non metaphysical side, burning sage is just good because it's also an antibacterial, right? So it kills a lot, it's kind of the original Febreze or whatever you want to call it. right? It kills a lot of the bacteria in the air and stuff like that. So it's a good practice. And then when I get done, I'll do some energy clearing. I really like some of the basics where you're kind of just like wiping, get this nasty stuff off of me, right? But yeah, not nasty, but get this energy off, especially if you've been dealing with someone that had a lot of hardship or stuff like that. And then there's some other techniques that we use, and I teach this to a lot of clients as well. We have protective energy techniques that we use. So when you go in, it creates not really like a wall, but a bit of a barrier. So even though there's energy scattering around, you're not absorbing a lot of it. So so yeah, all of those things can be quite helpful, especially if you know that you have someone coming in and it might be a difficult session. It's always good to throw those things up. Yeah, and going back to the homeopathy piece, like I have some homeopathic remedies that I'll occasionally take that are designed to help protect energy as well. So so yeah.
Nice. Nice. Well, let me tell you, Charles, it's been wonderful having you on the show, man. We certainly
Thanks.
interview and certain having you there. It's been fun traveling down your magical psyche highway.
Sweet. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
There were a couple of things I did want to talk about in the future that we have coming up. If you don't
Bring
mind.
it.
So
Bring it.
we have two kind of bigger events coming up. The first one is called Manifest Abundance with homeopathy and hypnosis. Again, we've teamed up with our homeopath. We're going to do a whole Manifest Abundance session, and then again, she's going to kind of capture that energy and she's going to make it into a homeopathic remedy, and people are going to take that home. And that's a really cool thing. We kind of experimented with it one-on-one. We did a session with her specifically, and both of us kept a bottle of the abundance energy, and that has been a very cool remedy that we take. It's really good for creating good mindset. If you're getting ready to go do something work-wise, it puts you in a good mood to go out and talk to people and do really well. So that's been a really cool thing. And then we also have a sleep retreat coming up September 14th. And that'll just be a 1-day retreat. It's geared for people here, but anybody that's like coming to Colorado, it would certainly add to a vacation. It's going to be all day at the it's called the La, I think it's French spelling, so the La Forêt, Forret. But it's kind of a retreat center, and again, we're going to be doing workshops that are going to help people sleep better, start to memorize their dreams a little bit, and things like that, so they can, really take advantage of that sleep time.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, it's going to be great. I'm super stoked.
Nice, nice. Well, hey, I'm not through with you yet. I still got another big question.
Oh, okay, good
Yeah,
deal.
yeah. So here's the big one. So,
Yeah,
what are your words of wisdom for our viewers?
words of wisdom. Hmm. I would say keep growing. Right. I think everyone's always kind of looking towards the end, like I want to get to my retirement. I'm going to take this class and then I'm going to be good. I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to be good. Right. Keep growing. And really, I guess along with that is kind of enjoy the journey as well. Right. Because I absolutely have goals that are coming up, and I have like bigger things going on that I want to plan, but at the same time, I'm also loving everything that I'm doing right now. Every client that comes in, they all teach me something, whether it's just, kind of a hypnosis thing and I'm able to refine my technique, or, occasionally when I'm doing more spiritual hypnosis, people get really psychic-y in that too. Like, people will be in trance. They're like, you need to call your mother. You're worried about you. She's worried about you, or stuff like that. Um, so yeah, just keep growing and enjoy it, right? Because when you get to that point where you feel like you had to stop, like, oh, I'm retired now or whatever, that's when everything kind of just stops for you, right? You're not gaining anymore. You're not getting any healthier. You're not getting any stronger, any smarter. Um, but yeah, keep growing.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. Do you have anything else you want to add?
I'm going to encourage people just in general to get in touch with their spiritual side, whatever that is. Whether it's an energy thing, whether you want to return back to the church that you used to go to, whatever spiritual thing it is that resonates with you, definitely go to it. It certainly can bring peace of mind, but it's also really good for just seeking guidance and things like that. I find that when I ask my questions, just randomly out into the universe, the answers come to me because I believe they'll come to me. And I think a lot of people believe that there's like no one out there, nothing out there to help them, and they get exactly that. So tweak it a little bit, get into it, and also, stuff rolls downhill, right? So if you're having trouble spiritually, eventually that's going to leak into your mind, it's going to leak into your emotions, it's going to leak into your body. We see it on the lower levels, people that are like stressed out all the time, they start to get ulcers and migraines and stuff like that. But it doesn't just start at what we're feeling emotionally, right? It starts where we're thinking, and it starts with our energy, really.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Some great stuff. Great stuff. Charles,
Well, thank you so much.
thank you. It's been wonderful traveling down your highway, Charles. It's been a blast. It's been a lot of fun. I hope you've
Oh,
enjoyed it. And
I
for
have. I love my highway.
Yeah,
So, so
we
it's
like
very
your
cool
highway
to
too,
visit it.
brother. We like your highway too. And for our
Awesome.
viewers out there, we hope you've liked the highway. We certainly enjoyed having you here. We hope you come back. If you like us, give us a thumbs up. If you think we're assholes, we don't care. Just give us a thumbs down. Continue, share it, subscribe, spread this thing all over, and we hope to see you next week. Thanks for coming.
Wow, what a trip. Thanks for taking that journey with us today. Please like us, share us, and enlighten us with your views of the topics we drove into today. We appreciate you and love reading your comments. Thanks again, and we hope to see you back on the bus next week. That's right.